Hey, man, don't you realize in order for us to make this thing work, man, we've got to get rid of the pimps and the pushers and the prostitutes and then start all over again clean.
Hey, look, nobody's pushing me anyway, okay? I mean, not you, not the cops, nobody, man. I mean, you want to get rid of the pushers, I'll help you. But don't send your people after me.
Oh, come on, John. Can't you see that we can't get rid of one without getting rid of the other? We got to come down on both of them at the same time in order for this whole thing to work for the people.
Hey, look, nobody's closing me out of my business.
Money is the root of all evil. What I say to that is the lack of money is the root of all evil. Lack of opportunity. The lack of being treated fair is the root of all evil. When someone sees you with something and they're trying their best to have it, but they don't get it, then they want to prey. They want to prey on other people.
As a kid growing up, I noticed that the people that had, at least I was sort of, well, man, for a rich guy, that means that usually, he's very mean, very unethical. So I associated money with being evil. Because everybody takes that scripture out of context when we say the love of money is the root of all evil. Yeah. And so I was taught that, hey, don't pursue money. And as I got older, I realized that, I really like, the world that we live in is controlled. We need this medium of exchange that we call money. But in my mind, that was a ceiling. And so this is the 23rd business that I've started. And so most of them, the first 20 failed miserably because I reached a ceiling and I self-destructed. I was making money, everything was going great, but in my mind, that was a belief system that I had that told me that once I reached or started making over X amount of dollars, I was no longer God's child and I was underneath the devil's camp. And so that spiritual teaching that I had growing up, that belief system, or that what I call it, it's a box that we all have. That belief system had to be destroyed. But there was no one around that could assist me to get out of box A and to get into box B. So I had to learn the hard way. And man, it was rough. Once I figured that system out, then that's when I started teaching it. Because the goal is, for me, is that when I started looking around, there was a lot of people who had the exact same problem, especially within our community. Because not only are we fighting religious, we also fighting the psychological effects of slavery. We also have a lot of self-hate. And that self-hate is brought on because of the fact that we are psychologically, even though we don't really realize it, but the system that we live in teaches us that whether it's Black Friday or whether the word black is associated with negativity. And so,
on Facebook, and it was about history, and they said the term Black Friday came up when that was the Friday after Thanksgiving when the white slave owners had then started buying slaves, and they can get them really cheap labor.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So that's when they had came over and on ships and brought them, and you can get the slaves super cheap, and that's why they named it Black Friday, because they could get the slaves that Friday super cheap because it was after Thanksgiving.
Watch a while, you see he never smiled. Broken home, father gone, mama tired, so is all alone. Kinda sad, ghetto child, thinking he's been had. his mind and said, didn't have to be here. You didn't have to love for me while I was just a...
This is my family right here. This is why black people have a hard time, because we each want what the other one has. The prison system is more than just a business. The prison system is also a plan, a very good plan, might I add. I remember there was a time when the white man didn't let the black man do a lot of stuff. You know, whether he tried to have a business, you know, whether he tried to establish his own home, get land, he was forbidden from doing a lot of things. But as time went on, we were put in a position where we had choices. And when they couldn't physically take stuff away from us, they strategically moved things in, such as drugs, guns, mischievous people. And the choices that a lot of us made was we chose to pick up those guns. We chose to pick up those drugs because they put us in a situation that at the time we felt like they were subpar living conditions. We wasn't getting paid the right wages. So people made up excuses on why they did it, but not really knowing that once you pick up that gun and once you pick up those drugs, there's going to be a collateral. It's going to be collateral damage here. Karma's going to start there, and all of a sudden, the cycle of chaos has begun. Now, I said,
what would you say would be like a solution to, you know what I mean,
a solution
to changing a lot of stuff that goes on?
Well, the main thing is, and that's for any projects, the main thing is the biggest problem in the projects is the way that the people that run the projects treat the people that live there. I mean, if you gonna give them crap, they gonna give you back crap. So if you gonna disrespect them and hassle them for small things that don't matter, barbecuing, you know, at this time of night, I'm trying to feed my family. Why treat me like this and send the security over? I'm barbecuing. I'm feeding my family. I've always believed is you get back out of people what you're giving to them, what you're giving to them. And that's one of the solutions right there. Treat them like they're people. Treat them like they're human. They are. We all are human, but that don't mean treat us like trash. And that's where a lot of the anger and disrespect come from, is the way that we treat it from the jump.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that comes from the people above, the upper people, you know, the management or things like that. It also has to do with the government too. I mean, if you make a person's way easy, their life easy because you give them food stamps or you give them some kind of benefit and you constantly just give it to them for no reason, they haven't earned it, of course they're going to be lazy. They're going to continue to accept what the project is. It's going to always be a project.
The two biggest businesses in the United States right now is the prison industry. Mm-hmm. And like my boy was telling me, he was like, yo, you really want to make some money? He was like, invest into a halfway house. He said that's what's booming right now, the prison system and the halfway house right now.
That's sad, man.
You know?
That's sad.
Yeah, so, I mean, you know, that's just part of, that's the system, you know.
It's the system, and it's real, but it's sad.
Yeah.
Don't capitalize on people that go through things that have problems. If anything, help them out. Add some counseling or something. You know, if you want to make some money, open up a counseling session. Halfway houses, they ain't really counseling them cats. They just provide them somewhere to stay. Plus they charging them. Plus they get money from the state. You know what I mean? So that ain't nothing that I would be proud about.
Right. Yeah.
Now, if I was opening up a safe house for people that's coming out and actually provide them with some good counseling and provide them with the avenues to come back into the world and be successful, not showing them, oh, go over here and work at McDonald's. That's okay. As long as you can pay us, we good. That's not cool.
Right.
That's not cool. The object is to get them out there into the world where they can take care of themselves or their family. Not have them back in the rut, because you know 9 times out of 10, if you work a fast food job or a low paying or minimum wage job, your attitude is gonna be stinking. I mean, you know, and there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that have messed up. That are the smartest people in the world. You know, the ones that have been locked up in federal institutions that have committed this crime or embezzlement and things like that. Those are mathematicians. They know how to get the money. They just got it wrong. Give them a chance to make your business successful. Trust them. Let them do what they know how to do. Because there's some smart people that have been locked up.
Oh yeah.
Very smart people. I think the world is ran by crooks. If you ask me, if you ask me, just to be honest, the world is ran by crooks.
First of all, I want to say thank you to George Gervin for even, investing his time, his resources, his name, and prestige into developing these kids. The George Gervin Foundation or Center started a little bit after I got locked up. I think it started like in '95 or something like that. And what it was geared toward was troubled youth who needed a second chance in life. Some people got too old to go to high school, or they got kicked out of every high school. They were troubled kids, and they just needed another type of direction. So what the George Gervin program did was it allowed these kids to not only get back into school, but it allowed them to graduate and to be somebody in life. I believe if George Gervin Center wasn't here, it'd be a lot more dead black kids on these streets. And not just black kids, Latinos too. Because they're at a, believe it or not, they're at a disadvantage as well. Even though this city is majority Hispanic, if you go look at the graduation and the murder rate and the penitentiary rate, they're neck and neck with African Americans, especially down here. And to be honest with you, people from down here will tell you Hispanics and blacks are like this down here in a positive way and a negative way. This city is so many different types of brands, but the city is very segregated. You got people on this side of town who ain't never left this side of town, and they've been here for years. You go on the west side, the south side, the north side, you got people like that here. People just don't go out of their neighborhoods too much. It ain't no, you can just go out here and just be hanging out like that. It's very segregated. So when you got that type of thinking, just on a social level, when money get involved, what do you expect? Oh, well, we got our money over here. They ain't got no money over there, tough for them. And that's how it is, and that's sad. And I think that's what Gervin gives us more of a social, more of an economical advantage in the hood, because they focus on the things that you need to succeed in the world.
First of all, a lot of people, especially locally, know my father is George Gervin, the Iceman. So they know him as a basketball player. And what he was trying to do is just try to make the impact and showing George Gervin the person and what he's all about and what he's trying to do with this community, and which is try to make it as best as possible, especially for us young black youths out here, man, who's really struggling and really kind of behind in just life skills. So that's what we want to basically bring to these kids, is life skills. Okay. Basically, with the school, we have a technology center. There's 3 campuses around the city. They have various campuses around town. They have a technology center. They have a cosmetology center, where they teach the kids, especially mainly young girls and stuff, how to kind of prep themselves and get ready, for womanhood. They also have another campus in Phoenix, Arizona, which is all middle school. And so, we're trying to make strides and stuff to try to make big impacts on the community and things like that, and reach out as far as we possibly can. you know, it's tough out here, but you know, we just want to make it as easy as possible for the transition for these kids, because I know most of them come from, you know, households and stuff that is very, very unfortunate, and so we just want to kind of make the impact. So, you know, I got some likes of my family here. My dad's brother Derek, who also played professional basketball and who's great in the community and great with dealing with young kids and people. So we try to collectively, along with my auntie who runs the school, she's the CEO, Miss Barbara Hawkins. So we just try to come out here and make an impact on this community and do the best we can to get these kids a chance.
I have always believed that hope is that stubborn thing inside us that insists, despite all the evidence to the contrary, that something better awaits us. So long as we have the courage to keep reaching, to keep working, to keep fighting,